I scored some amazing knives at Sharp Show last week. I didn't plan to leave with this many knives or EDC gear, but Sharp Show 2025 had other ideas. Just over a week ago, I stepped into the UK's biggest blade event and walked out with a haul that's part history, part obsession, and a lot of steel. From rare finds to unexpected gems, this collection has stories, craftsmanship, and a few surprises you won't see coming. Let's unpack the knives and EDC gear that made this year's show unforgettable. Hang around to the end and I'll show you my favourite buys and what made this Sharp Show so special. So before I get into the knives, let's start with the two lights that I got, torches or flashlights. So both of these are Olight. There was a great stall there which had Olight stuff, and this Obulb Pro, this Obulb Pro was a great price. It was £5, and it's just got some different colours. And in theory, you can connect to my phone, but I haven't managed to get that to work yet. So anyway, that's the Obulb Pro. Then the Olight Arc Failed Pro as well. So this was a great price. What I really like about this is it has a UV light as well as a laser pointer and a main beam as well. And that's really useful for work. The UV light is a bit scary to shine around your house. You realise just how dirty your house is. So that was a bit of fun going through that with my sons earlier. But this was a great price. I really like that it's got the double clip as well there. So, but that's going to be really useful for work. Next, this was a gift, and this was from the Twisted Assisted stall. And you may wonder what it is. Well, it's a neck. It's a neck sheath for the Twisted Assisted Tulip, which I got at the first Sharp Show 2 years ago, the first one that I went to. And it's great that it turns this tulip into a neck knife. And I really love the tulip. It's a great little super sharp slicer. So it's a great thing. I can use it if I'm camping to have around my neck or at any time really. The nice thing about the tulip is it's UK legal. And that was a gift from the Twisted Assisted stall, which is brilliant. Then another sort of case, I got the Maxpedition, and this is the mini pocket organizer. And I got this from Heinnie Haynes. I think it was about £10. It was on special offer there. So that was a great bargain. It's something I want to try and put a new toolkit together. And this is the first time I've had one of the proper Maxpedition pouches. I've tried some of the Viperade ones as well. This looks interesting that it's got a nice full fold out. And keeping with the idea of sheaths and covers, this was a gift from one of the Discord group from Ellis. And it's a really nice leather sheet. He does some good work looking at the seams. And he has his leather company, Crowbar Leather. So I'll put a link to that in the description. But that was a really nice gift. And then finally, the last two things are tools. So I finally got a Leatherman squirt. This was a great price. I think it was on the Dan Bridge or a Blade Bridge stall. It's maybe seen better days, but it's my first Leatherman squirt. I wanted to see how it compared against the Leatherman dime, and I'll do a review on this later. I think the only thing I need to look at is I think the scissors maybe need a spring, but I can maybe sort one out for that. So that's the Leatherman squirt, but it's a great, nice little pair of pliers. And then the last thing, which I got from the Twisted Assisted store, were these tweezers. So similar to the sliver grippers, and these can fit in your key ring. I think it could be useful to me because I quite like Alox Victorinox, so and they don't come with tweezers, so I can put this on my keychain, so I'll try that later. Moving on to the knives, let's have a look at this lovely pair. So two different sizes, but essentially the same design. And hopefully you can see that. So these are from San Remo, and I don't know much about them. I didn't know when I bought them where they were from. I had to look up the logo and the script. But the nice thing about them is that they're nicely made. They're all stainless. I'm not sure on the steel, and I'll have to try and find out what the what the writing is on them. But I really like the blade shape and just the whole package of them. So it's sort of like a clip point, I guess. It's got a very sharp point, and it's got a slight belly to the blade. So that's a small one. And then essentially, this is just a larger version. But there's just something about these I really liked. Really nice fit and finish, nice slip joint, simple back spring, and they came super sharp as well. Both of them have this sort of keychain ring on the end as well. But both in good condition, both well made, so I will make a video on these later, and I look forward to finding out a bit more about them. If anybody knows anything about these, then please drop me a note in the comments. So that's those. Then from Congi's, if anybody in the UK, I'm sure you know Congi's knife sales. From his bargain box, I got this little Open L number 6 in stainless, and I thought this was rather nice. I thought the wood is really good. Maybe olive, I'm not sure. Certainly looks better than the standard wood used. I'm not a huge fan of Open L. I have one in my fire starting kit because the back of the blade is fantastic for getting sparks off a ferro rod. But I bought this as a gift for my daughter-in-law. She does work. She works a lot outside. She teaches forestry school stuff to kids. So that's going to go to Jess. And then this is an interesting knife. Now, when I first started getting into collecting knives and EDC, this was one of the ones I had my eye on. But I thought maybe it was a little bit small. It's I'll do a video later on it. It's a CRKT Jewelry. It's almost 4 fingers, but with the lanyard on the end, it's quite good. It's a nice little blade. It's quite sharp. And the great thing about it is that when you close it up, then you have a cap lifter. So it looks pretty innocuous. Has a nice clip. The nice thing about buying these on the secondary market is that you get some extra stuff. And I think I got this from Slipjoint Sawyer's stall. I'm not sure if it was one of his or one of the other guy who was on the stall with him. And then the next knife, this was a gift. So big thank you to Robin, who brought it along for me. I've given it a little bit of a clean up with a bit of toothpaste, so it's looking okay. So this is the Boca Atlas in brass. Nice 12C27 blade, nice hollow ground blade as well. Really slicey. I have a black one of these, but not the brass. And I think the brass works really well. I love the patina on it. So cracking knife, tip up carry, about as simple as you can get really. A bit like a Duk Duk, but a modern version of that. So that was one set of knives that I've got. So already you can see my knife count is up to 5. Let's take a look at some of the Victorinoxes that I've found. So I'll start with the biggest one. Now this is one that I wanted a while ago, and I thought I was buying one online, but actually it was a cheap, nasty, well, it wasn't even a copy of one. It was just a one that had been put together in China and wasn't Victorinox at all and had a load of random tools on it. So this is the Outrider. It has a button lock, so it's one of the older ones. I quite like that. I'm absolutely rubbish at the other locks that they have. The nice thing about this is it has a fantastic size saw, similar to the Hercules that I have. And as well as that, it has an inline Phillips screwdriver. Let me see if I take the scissors out here. And here we have the inline Phillips. It's quite a small one, not as big as on the Hercules. And then it has the normal tools as well as an awl and a corkscrew and the usual scale tools. So that's the Outrider, and 111mm, and that was the first one that I got. That was from, I think that was from Dan Bridges' stall. Then I got this one, which is the Dutch Army knife. It's also a Victorinox, and I've been after these for some time. This is one of the 1985 ones. It's basically a Pioneer with a bail on it, but these were issued to the Dutch Army. It's great that it has a date on, because one of the problems you have with Victorinox, as well as with some of the UK makers, is it can be very difficult to date. Then I bought three, also from Slipjoint Sawyer, and they were a great price. This one is the Mountaineer. So it's like a Huntsman, but instead of the saw, you have a sort of a metal saw come file. So I quite like that because it was different. It's in really good condition. And again, I'll do a video on that later on. Then there are two of these which are very similar, actually. So both sort of Wengers. One of them is the original Wenger. The other one is a Victorinox version. But you can see they have the same shaped handle. This is an older one. This is the Evolution S101. And it has that because it has a locking blade. And you can see the Wenger tang stamp as well. So not strictly legal in the UK. The other thing about this is it has a secondary blade as well, being a clip point. So I thought that was something quite a bit different. And of course there's the usual Wenger can opener and cap lifter. So a little bit different to Victorinox. And my first ones with these sort of shaped handles, and I have to say I quite like them, actually. So again, there'll be a video coming up on that. And then this one is the Evo 10. So this is the Victorinox version, so this is a newer one, and it's very similar, but instead of that secondary blade it has the nail file. But great condition, both of those. So they were the 5 Victorinox that I bought. So somehow I'm up at 10 knives now. Let's look at some of the other ones. So these 4 all came from Heinnie Haynes. And Heinnie Haynes, if you're from the UK, is one of the best places to get knives and other outdoor gear. And I'll put a link to these in the description because you can buy these. These are just standard stock, really. The first one, now this is, if you like friction folders, or even if you don't, this is really a must to have in your collection. This is the Svord Mini Peasant, and it's made in New Zealand. It's carbon steel, so it's coated in oil, but it's one of the simplest folding knives you can get. And I thought I must have one for my collection. I'll do a review on that later and compare it with some similar knives that I have. This one is from another one from CRKT. I quite like CRKT. They have some quirky stuff. This is the Squid Compact. And what I quite like about it is that it is one hand opening. It's small, so it's a little bit fiddly, and I need to have a little bit more practice, but it is openable. There's a good place to put your finger, but it's only a 3-finger knife, this. But it's a nice little knife. I think it's got a double detent, and it's in the Heinnie Haynes red. So I just thought, I've got the CRKT Pilar as well in Heinnie Haynes red. I thought that would go well with it. And then this one is the Boca Tech Tool. So it's got a very similar blade to the Atlas. It's hollow ground. It's 12C27. It could even be the same blade. This is in the Boca Plus range, so it's made in China. It's the Tech Tools one. It also has a knife, not a knife breaker, it has a glass breaker, and you can switch the clip either end. Now again, this wasn't for me, although I'd be quite happy to have that. I already have a Tech Tools, one of the larger ones that my son's got me. So, but again, this was for my daughter-in-law because she wanted something to use for food prep when she's outside, and this has a cracking little blade for that. So very slicey, great for cutting up any fruits or veggies or anything really. So again, that's for my daughter-in-law. And then lastly, this is the veil from Heinnie Haynes. It's a Heinnie Haynes special. I'm not sure who makes it. Maybe Real Steel. I'll have to check on that. I have the windmill, which I believe is made by Real Steel, but it's a nice looking knife, similar to a Duk Duk or the Atlas. It's got the H for Heinnie Haynes. An interesting blade shape. I don't know what you call that really. It's a sort of a modified sheep's foot. We always say modified when we're not sure what it is. So it's got a bit of a belly to it, a little bit of a point, and a decent thickness blade stock. I have heard about some problems with the hidden back spring going on these and on the windmill, but we'll see how it goes and I'll do a video on it. So I think that makes it 14 knives so far. 14 down, 2 to go. Let's take a look at this because these are my 2 favourite knives that I purchased. This one. So this is the Senator, and it's from Twisted Assisted, and it's also an Arthur Wright as well. And so I've got one of the other Twisted Assisted knives from Arthur Wright. It's got this nice black micarta scales and brass liners and the bolster at either end, and of course the Twisted Assisted tank stamp. So really like the blade shape. Well, I just like the whole knife really, and I've got a great place to put it. Since I got it, it's been in my MJ Hood's slip, which this fits perfectly in. Hopefully I've put it in the right way. If not, I'll get a comment from Griff, who made it, and it fits in there fantastically. It goes well with the O pen and the O light that I have there. So I'm looking forward to carrying that. So that is the Senator. I think these are still available. I think they're also available in the brown as well, but I thought that was just really nice, very classy looking. So I was very pleased with that. And then finally, now this was one that was very late on in Sharp Show, and I don't know if you know what this is, but this is the Spyderco Urban, and this is one of the ones made in Italy, and it was actually a Heinnie Haynes special, and I've got the scales from that, the red scales, but these are vapor puffing ones, and I really like the look of this. So this was my favourite purchase. It was the most expensive one, and I bought it from a good friend, from Judd. You probably know Judd or Justin from the Paddy and Pals live stream, and Judd was looking to move this on, and I already had a UK PK and a Squeak, and I'll do a video on the 3 actually, but what I liked about this is that this is the one in the middle. I found the Squeak a little bit small. The UK PK was fantastic, but maybe a little bit long and pointy in the blade. And here in the UK, some non-knife people get a bit nervous if you get a knife out and it looks a bit pointy. So this one's a little bit smaller, but it fits my hand just perfectly. And I love the way that the finger choil there stops it closing, but it's an absolutely fantastic looking knife. So the Spyderco Urban, and this has been in my pocket ever since I bought it, and I think it's going to be in my pocket most of the time, the same as the UK PK has been. But this for me is a step up and an almost perfect knife. Now, one of the best parts, it wasn't just the knives and seeing the craftsmen and seeing the stall holders. One of the most important things for me was meeting up with some of the guys from the Slip Joint Sanitarium Discord group, and this being my third show and knowing people better made it fantastic. A great chance to catch up in person, to meet some new people that I haven't seen before. So for me, that was the absolutely best part of this. I'll go through a few names and some of the YouTubers that I met there as well. So Slipjoint Sawyer, he started the Slipjoint Sanitarium. It was great to see him. It was great to see Paddy from Paddy's Potato Peelers as well, and Gus from Gadget Gus, as well as a load of other guys. But I'm looking forward to the next one already, and I hope to see some of the other people before then. If you are there next time and you see me, please pop up to me and say hello. That's the haul. Knives and EDC gear with a few surprises I didn't see coming. Sharp Show 2025 delivered more than just knives. It brought together collectors, makers, and moments that remind us of why this community is so great. If you spotted a favourite or want a closer look at any piece, drop it in the comments. And if you're into EDC, history or craftsmanship, you'll want to stick around. More EDC and more stories coming soon, so hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And why not watch this video on Armed Forces knives or this playlist on EDC gear. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next video.